All right, welcome to the Willie Lawson Show here on iHeartRadio. It is a pleasure to be here, and it's a beautiful morning here in the Tampa Bay area. It's gorgeous. I was outside for a little bit. The humidity's down a little bit. The temperature is down. It's a beautiful Central Florida fall day. It's going to be about 85, maybe even 87 degrees on a fall day. Tuesday we had a record high 92 degrees in November. It's the hottest day it's been in November here since they've been keeping records now. Now I know that that all the global warming enthusiasts, and I'll call you enthusiasts, are saying, see. Well, the high before that, the record high before that was 90. So it's been hot here before. It isn't like it's something new. It's been hot here before. So it's hot. It's, if you look at where Florida is, if you look at where Central Florida is on a globe, all you science people always yelling at us science deniers, guess what? It's hot here. If you wrap that latitude around the planet, you'll find out that it's hot. Most of those places. So there you go. So it's nice. So I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna get back out into it after we're done here. But those of you who've been listening to the Willie Lawson Show on Blog Talk Radio and here on iHeartRadio on Spreaker.com, and then listen to the shows that I do on Spreaker called the Take Home Edition of the Willie Lawson Show, know me and know that I get spurred and sparked by things. I'm really not sure how some of the people who go on the radio every day in front of millions of people plan their shows 3 days in advance and approach it with sort of a tactician viewpoint. Now, some of you will say, well, that's what professionals do. Well, that's a good enough argument. I have to be sparked by something that's happened in my own life, something that's happened in my own circles, and that has happened. There was an article that came across my Facebook page. God, I gotta get off Facebook. I gotta find some way. I have to find some way to do what I do and not do it with Facebook. Facebook depresses me sometimes. Is it the same with you? Facebook depresses me sometimes, and I just can't deal with it. It makes me so sad. It makes me so angry that I just have to, sometimes I just close the laptop, go to my bedroom, and get in the bed. Seriously. Sometimes I just close the laptop and get in the bed. That's the deal. Sometimes I have to. So I just so I have to find. I think I've got to find a way to get off Facebook. My son just, for instance, this is the kind of stuff that sparks me. Just put up a meme that he shared from Obama is officially the worst president in American history's photo. Now, this one doesn't really have anything to do with him, but just the sort of liberal lunacy. So we've got an Indian, an Indian, and that's the congressman who insists that she's Cherokee. We have Rachel Dolezal as black. We have Hillary Clinton is poor because when they left the White House, they were dead broke. We've got Zimmerman as a white guy; he's Hispanic. We've got Bruce Jenner as a hero. We've got people protesting in having a peaceful protest while standing on a police car. It's peaceful. We've got Michael Brown punching or assaulting a store owner before he went and got shot as gentle. We've got Trayvon Martin, Facebook page, flipping you off as a child, and they're calling the police and the military terrorists. It's lunacy. It makes me sad. But in any case, let me get to what I was doing. I saw an article that was posted by the Daily Wire. It was entitled, "Black Man Famous for Shooting Basketballs Says Black Man Famous for Neuroscience is Too Racist." Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, somebody that I have taken on the same thing that Jim Rome calls him, Kareem Abdul-Jablunt, because of his love of marijuana, has said the following. On Wednesday, he decided to attack the 2016 Republican presidential frontrunner, Dr. Ben Carson, calling him terrible for black Americans, like Barack Obama has been a godsend for black Americans. This is what Jablunt writes. His repressive, muddled, and pious policies and opinions often run against our Constitution. What? But his questionable proposals will likely, thankfully, be doomed by his lack of political expertise. His presidency would be marked by even worse gridlock, while he wastes his time trying to impose his narrow and sometimes ill-informed morality on the 319 million people of the nation. And it would definitely not be good for African Americans to have a president who flounders helplessly in office, because it would perpetuate the stereotype that blacks can't be effective CEOs, quarterbacks, and leaders. Well, it's interesting how black people have thrived under the administration of Barack frickin' Obama. Did Jabbar say the same thing? Jablunt say the same thing? Is he saying the same thing about the current president? Where gridlock is... I said this, gridlock is good. And what Jablunt doesn't know about the Constitution and how federal government works, or how government works, is that gridlock is exactly what the founders had in mind. It slows the process. It keeps you from going to and fro and to and fro and to and fro. It stops one side who gets a majority from pushing the agenda so far to one side that it can't be stopped. That's what gridlock's all about. Jablunt. You know, it's leftist extremism. The author of the piece, Ben Shapiro, writes, Abdul's actual criticism of Carson has nothing to do with race, but everything to do with the leftist extremism. For leftists, anyone who disagrees must be racist, especially if they're black. He blasts Carson over science based on Jabbar's doctorate in throwing a basketball through a hoop and dogging it on defense. He calls Carson's claim that sexual orientation is a choice remarkably unscientific, basing his critique on flimsy studies of genetics and in utero hormonal exposure, none of which demonstrate an invariable relationship between sexual orientation and these factors. You know what? That's what these people do. Because if they get a little bit of a platform, then they stand there and pontificate like they freaking know. So Kareem Abdul-Jablunt is lecturing a freaking brain surgeon on science. Seriously? Because he read some articles. He's never been there, bent over the bodies of two children with their bodies cut open, tasked with separating them and having two alive, functioning human beings. And Kareem Abdul-Jablunt is actually going to lecture Dr. Carson on science. Too much pot, Jablunt. Too much pot, Jablunt. Too much plot. Too much pot. So in any case, this is why I've got to get off Facebook. One of my friends, somebody I've known for 30 freaking years. However, I think it's been sucked in, originally from Chicago, but been sucked in to the liberal left by his involvement with university life. He and his wife, his then wife, got they studied hard and got master's degrees, and they got their doctorates. And he has a very, very successful job. He's been very successful at a university out west, doing what he wanted to do. But again, sucked in to the ivory tower bullcrap of the left. Had to comment on Facebook. Guys, I got to get off Facebook. I got to find out how to do this without being on freaking Facebook. When people commented, what I wrote, I'll go back, and that way I don't have to remember. I can just read it. What I wrote was this. I wrote that smoke too much, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He smoked too much. It's crazy. A lot of people liked what I said. Who didn't comment. But then my friend commented, lucid statement. He thinks that what Jablunt said was lucid. Hardly lucid. Silly, in fact. Stupid. If you don't agree, why get so dismissive? Because Jablunt's an asshole. I can be dismissive. I can be dismissive. I can dismiss bullcrap. I can. But this is the whole thing about the left. We can't. Even then, he talks about the tone of our conversation, and that conversation is the free exchange of ideas. Well, no. Here's the deal. Here's what they try to do, and here's what the left tries to do. And my friend is bathed in it and baptized in it, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm not even going to try. I have my outlet here. I have my outlet here, so I don't have to try to convince him of anything, or you of anything for that matter. Here's the deal. And I've said this before, I've said this 1,000 times. What the left does is try to control not only the words, but the tenor of any discussion. It's the very same thing that parents do to their kids to keep control. If there is any sort of situation, any sort of dealing, any sort of confrontation, disagreement, engagement, the parent is always in control, and that's simply because the parent has already decided what's okay and what's not okay for the child to say. The parent has already decided, and the rules are firm, not only what the child can say, but how the child can behave, thus controlling all of the conversation. So the left, who always thinks they know better, like parents, they always think they know better. They always think that they're more sensitive. They think that they're soothsayers. They think that they're better students of history, and that they're just better freaking people. They always think that they're better freaking people. Of course, come at people like me and some of you as if we're children. Why so dismissive? Because I can be. Because what this is bullcrap coming out of Jablunt's mouth, or out of his pen, or out of his computer. Jablunt's an idiot, so I can be dismissive. Why so dismissive? Because I don't have to engage everything that comes out of somebody's pie hole like it matters. That's why. Because I don't have to. Because I'm grown. Because I'm 55 years old, and last year on January 8th, I was already dead. So screw you. I don't care. How about that? Yes, and I'll throw the heart attack card down. I got 4 or 5 decks of these. Every morning when I get up and see that scar on my chest, you know what? I go, I don't have to give a crap what you say. I don't. I really don't. So here's the deal. And that conversation kind of continued. What bothered me is the power that the left has in sucking you into their machine. Is, here's the deal. This guy is my friend. I've known for 30 years. 30 freaking years. Through some dark times. For him and me. But he just couldn't help it. But he just couldn't help it. The left wants to be the ones to make the decision on what's okay to say, what's okay to say. That's political correctness. That's the left. That's truly a leftist thing, right? Political correctness. So what's okay to say, what's not okay to say, what tenor or what tone I can use. Because there's obviously code words. Even in tone, there's code tones. There's microaggressions for saying things like America is still the greatest country in the world. That's obviously some sort of microaggression, right? So they get to decide all this. They think they get to decide all this crap. They think they get to decide all this crap, right? People like Debbie Wasserman Schultz tells Christians, hey, listen, y'all can do whatever you want on Sunday in the church. Y'all just can't bring that out here, where we are. How to practice my faith. How to practice my politics. My friend says that, you know what, let me read what he said, because I don't want to paraphrase. And this is why I can never vote for a GOP candidate. Dope-smoking, pants-sagging Democrat is a statement from a candidate who wishes to represent all citizens and his constituency. Obviously, this shows a total disrespect for anybody who may think differently. Doesn't make me angry. Makes me sad. Oh, I hurt your freaking feelings? Bite me. That's what he said about me. Because somebody asked the questions of what kind of candidate does somebody like Jabbar want? And I said, easy, a dope-smoking, pants-sagging Democrat. That's what he wants. Somebody like himself. Somebody he can, lord over. He doesn't want anybody. He doesn't want Jablunt doesn't want an equal. He doesn't want somebody who can stand to him and go, well, you know what, that's very nice, Kareem, but you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Jablunt doesn't want anybody, especially who disagrees with him, to be on that level. So Jablunt would much rather have the dope-smoking kid with the pants sagging who's a Democrat. He'd much rather have that. So you're wondering now, did I answer back? Well, yeah, probably shouldn't, but I did. What I wrote was this: you can't judge me for one Facebook statement. I'm here getting bruised every damn day where I live with people who are sick to death of people like Jablunt speaking for them. Sick to death of the culture of death that envelops their communities. All the while white liberals defend the very people that are responsible for this culture of death, poverty, and despair. Isn't it interesting that the left just holds up to this higher standards? And I'm going to tell you how. People like Al Sharpton, people like Jesse Jackson, things like Black Lives Matter, They hold these things up as if there's some sort of harbinger or barometer of what black life is in America. And these are the go-to Negroes, Sharpton and Jackson, and some others are the go-to Negroes whenever anything happens. That's how they hold these people up as almost as icons. Al Sharpton had a show. I don't know if it's still on MSNBC. Why? Because the left wants to make damn sure that there's a black face on their network, and wants to make sure that is, as far as they're concerned, is that's the black voice for America. Al Sharpton, not Ben Carson, not C.L. Bryant, not K. Carl Smith, not Alveda King, not Tim Scott, not Mia Love, but Al Sharpton. Why not any of those other people? Why not? Because it's about agenda. It's not about anything else. It's white people continually holding up the very same people who are responsible and have been responsible for the culture of death, poverty, and despair in the African American community, especially. And we'll talk about this. We'll talk about that more on another show, because that's really starting. I mean, that sparks me, and it started to really make me a little nutty. That my friend is saying that is telling me how I ought to campaign and how I ought to carry myself, and you want to represent all the people. How could you say such a thing? Because I can. Because I'm 55, I'm grown, and I've been dead once. What? Although they can say, the left can say, pretty much whatever they want. Have you noticed that? There's nobody correcting leftist speech. And some of you would say, well, you're correcting Jablunt's speech. I'm not correcting Jablunt's speech. I'm commenting on what he said and how it was and how he must be ate up with a dumbass at this point. I thought he played basketball, but apparently he's had a whole bunch of concussions because he's crazy as hell. Well, I think he's always been crazy as hell. But he, too, is dipped in the water of that whole leftist bullcrap that happens on the left coast in Los Angeles. Some people commented on his Muslimship, or he's been Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for a long time, a long time. And again, the left holds him up as some sort of black icon, while he practices a faith that demeans women, that promotes misogyny, that promotes people being homophobes. Where's the left condemning Jablunt on these issues? No, the left can't wait to hold Jablunt up as some sort of icon because he comes out and calls Dr. Ben Carson unscientific. Are you serious? Do you even freaking hear yourself? Do you hear yourself at all? Do you hear yourself? I'm guessing you don't. I'm guessing you can't. I'm guessing it's impossible for you to hear yourself over the din of your own idiocy. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Willie Lawson Show here on iHeartRadio. Just like always, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now. All right, it's time to buy a house. School year's coming up. It's time to buy a house. It's time to stop thinking about it. It's time to start doing it. And you're wondering, how do we go about buying a house? Do we buy a previously owned house or do we buy a new house? My suggestion is that you buy a new house. That if at all possible, buy a new house, either a new construction home or an inventory home. Because you are going to get more bang for your buck than if you try to make something work. You ever try to do that? Ever try to just make something work and find out that what we figure out is it never really does? But if you're interested in buying a brand new inventory home of a builder, or a brand new built from the ground, built from scratch home here in the Tampa Bay area, you couldn't, better not get that process started without talking to my friend Gary from New Homes of Tampa Bay. New Homes of Tampa Bay is ready to walk you through the entire process from rooter to tutor, from the rooter to the tutor, from the front to the back. Because there's lots to know. There is lots to know, and most of the people who are involved and have that information, they all have an ulterior motive. They're trying to sell you their house. They're trying to sell you one of their homes. And what you need is an advocate. You need somebody who's on your side. Just like in the financial world, you need a fiduciary. You need somebody who's working for you, who's looking out for your best interests. And that's what the folks at New Homes of Tampa Bay do. They look out for you. They've got this tool called property process management, that if you're building a brand new construction home, they send a qualified home inspector to the work site while your home is being built to make sure that you are getting all the things that you were promised in the sales pitch, and that they are all of the quality that you were promised. And you know what that cost you? Nothing. Now, they could charge you a lot of money for this process, because if you think about it, the peace of mind you get once you get home and you don't have to worry about what's behind the wall of your new home. What's in the foundation of your new home? Is the plumbing going to go bad under the foundation? Stuff you don't have to worry about. The peace of mind that you gain is well worth $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. How about zero? How about zero? We have gotten so good at this that we've made we have partnered with some of the builders, some of the best builders in the Tampa area. And so we can do all of this for you at no cost to you. That's New Homes of Tampa Bay. That's newhomestpa.com. Newhomestpa.com. 813-770-9452. That's 813-770-9452. And that's newhomestpa.com. Listen, this show would not be possible if it weren't for our affiliate partners. If it wasn't for people like Gary Knight at New Homes Tampa Bay. If it weren't like Kevin Batts at theredriverchronicle.com. So it is getting near the end of the month, so let's talk about the Red River Chronicle. The Red River Chronicle is a website that is full of fantastic conservative articles, conservative educational tools. I think that's the coolest thing. Spent 15 years in teaching in the public school system, and you know what? These educational tools are something that you can use yourself, that you can use in a classroom setting, that you can direct students to. sort of on the sly, because it's, frankly, I think the battle is just like that. If you are if you're working in the public school system, and you're in a social studies classroom, I use social studies because it's the easiest transition, and a student comes to you and says, "Where do I learn more about conservatives?" Well, the very first place you should send them is not townhall.com, is not the Rush Limbaugh site, or even the Willie Lawson show necessarily. You need to send them right to the redriverchronicle.com. Articles written in a scholarly way, primarily information about Oklahoma and Texas, but from a very conservative standpoint. And you know what? Kevin Batts is black, so that helps your students because that throws away and destroys the left's picture of who's supposed to be conservative. So you can also, on that site, that student will have access to Hillsdale College lectures, which I think are invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. And there's also an app that they can purchase. I did. It's all of 99 cents. I purchased it. It keeps you up to date with what's going on the redriverchronicle.com website. That's the redriverchronicle.com website. The finest in conservative information and education.